Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Flipside Quartet, and welcome to the Party for the Park 2020. We're very sorry you couldn't be with us here in person. We're going to do our best to play some nice music for you anyway.
If you ever plan to motor west, travel my way, take the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. It winds from Chicago to LA, more than 2,000 miles all the way. Get your kicks on Route 66. Now you're going through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City looks mighty pretty. You see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino. Won't you get here to this timely tip when you make that California trip? Get your kicks on a Route 66. Going through St. Louis, Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma City looks mighty, mighty pretty. You see Amarillo, Gallup, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, don't forget Winona, Kingman, Barstow, San Bernardino. Won't you get hip to this time and tip when you make that California trip? I get your kicks on Route 66. One more time. I get your kicks on Route 66. Oh, get your kicks on Route 66.
Well, we're all sorry you can't be here in person this year, but we're looking forward to getting you back here for Party in the Park 2021 back here at the Sculpture Park. And we look forward to seeing you all in person.
Well, sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Oh, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Oh yeah, oh Valerie. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house on up for sale? Did you get a good lawyer? You didn't catch a 10. I hope you find the right man who'll fix it for you. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you still busy? Did you have to pay that fine you were dodging all the time? Are you still dizzy? Oh, you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, oh, Valerie, Valerie. Sometimes I go out by myself and I look across the water and I think of all the things what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Oh, well, since I've come on home, my body's been a mess and I miss your ginger hair and the way come on over, stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, oh, Valerie, yeah, Valerie. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, Valerie, oh, Valerie. Why don't you come on over, Valerie?
Good evening. My name is Cord Jablonski, and I am the Business Director at deCordova. It is my great pleasure to welcome you this evening to our first ever hybrid Party for the Park. While this isn't exactly how we expected to be celebrating deCordova's 70th anniversary as a museum, it is still great to be together this evening. I hope that you were able to visit the park this afternoon and see deCordova friends old and new, enjoy some time on our amazing grounds, and experience the recent installations in the park. We have a wonderful program ahead. It has been just over a year since deCordova integrated with the trustees, and it has been a remarkable time. Last October, we opened to the public Andy Goldsworthy's permanent installation, Watershed. We've been busy with capital projects like bringing new elevators and boilers online, and we have dramatically expanded educational and programming opportunities so that visitors can more deeply engage with deCordova. Following the integration, we experienced healthy growth in visitation last fall and through the winter. But none of us would have expected what has happened since the pandemic set in this spring. Few cultural institutions are as well positioned as deCordova, and over the course of the summer, we have welcomed nearly twice as many visitors as we would during normal times. I'm especially thrilled that the park is full of families, and we've seen nearly 3 times as many children on the property as a typical summer day. deCordova has never been so vibrant, and I'm delighted that we have been able to continue to fulfill our mission during these challenging times. I would like to thank our talented staff for all that they do to delight visitors every day. This remarkable circumstance, deCordova thriving as it is today, would not be possible without your support. I would like to thank each of you for joining us in celebrating deCordova this evening, with special gratitude to our incredible host committee, led by co-chairs Sophia and Edward Garmy, and Charlotte and Mark Zowell. I would also like to thank the members of deCordova Governance, our Advisory Board, Fiduciary Board, and deCordova Leadership Council. I am grateful for your thoughtful perspective and very much enjoy working with each of you. We sincerely appreciate the generous support offered by our corporate sponsor, State Street Global Advisors. Thank you. Over the course of the next 45 minutes, we will hear from several voices sharing what makes deCordova so very special. Artists with connections to the park, supporters and staff will all share what deCordova means to them. For me, deCordova is a place of continuous excitement, change, and wonder. New works arrive in the park frequently, our exhibits have great depth, the beautiful landscape is always changing, and I have the pleasure of interacting with our very happy visitors and hearing their stories every day. One of those moments of excitement was when our senior curator, Sarah Montrose, shared that Mark Dion and Dana Sherwood's Conservatory for Confectionery Curiosities would be coming to deCordova. I'd seen this piece last year and loved it. This incredibly engaging work currently greets visitors at the museum's main entrance and has been a source of wonder for young and old alike. We are delighted to have Mark Dion as our honoree this evening. His work examines the ways in which dominant ideologies and public institutions shape our understanding of history, knowledge, and the natural world. Mark has received numerous awards and significant recognition for his work, including a recent Guggenheim Fellowship awarded in 2019. He has had major exhibitions around the world, including the Miami Art Museum, Museum of Modern Art in New York, and the Tate, just to name a few. Mark and his wife and frequent collaborator, Dana Sherwood, were also the speakers for our Cronin lecture earlier this season and provided a special view into their artistic process. I would like to thank Mark for accepting this recognition from deCordova, and also thank both Mark and Dana for so generously donating 3 glass jellies that are part of our auction this evening. I hope you had a chance to see them earlier today. Each one is so spectacular, you might have a hard time picking a favorite and be tempted to bid on all 3. In fact, I encourage you to do just that. Please visit thetrustees.org/party to bid. We have an exciting program ahead, and I know you'll enjoy it. On behalf of the entire deCordova staff, thank you again for your support and for being with us this evening. deCordova wouldn't be here without you.
So I've been visiting deCordova my whole life. I grew up in Wayland, and I don't even remember how old I was the first time I came. My name is Charlotte Zowell.
And I'm Mark Zowell. So we got involved with the deCordova about 5 years ago. When we both moved to Boston, she brought me here for the first time, and just coming to a place like this, you're immediately drawn to it. And over the last 5 years, we've gotten much more involved.
We've been on the host committee for the Party for the Park for the past 3 years. We're super excited to be co-chairing this year.
I've served as the chair of the Collections and Exhibitions Committee for the last few years. I'm the president of the deCordova Advisory Board.
I think deCordova is special because it combines an outdoor sculpture park, the best of its kind in Massachusetts, along with a museum. It's an amazing mix of heavy hitters to more local and emerging artists, so there's something for everyone. The way that the sculptures just live in nature in such a serene and beautiful setting is just really neat.
The way in which the sculpture is sited within the park, the strength of the curatorial programming within the museum itself, and the way in which the museum has really built a community and a real family focus for those that are involved here.
My favorite piece in the sculpture park is the musical fence by Paul Matisse. It's been here for a long time, and I remember interacting with it when I was a child, just to be able to have the memories of coming here as a child and then being able to see my kids enjoy them in the same way and build those same memories with art and with nature.
Especially a year in which there's seen so much change and so much uncertainty, we're really excited to be involved with the museum in this way, and we're so grateful and appreciative for everyone who's similarly shown their support for deCordova during this time.
The memories of our children running through the sculpture garden, I think, are really indelible and are things that our children and we will probably remember forever.
My name is Sophia Garmy.
My name is Edward Garmy.
I've been visiting the deCordova since 1988.
I've been visiting deCordova for most of the last 10 years since we moved out to Concord.
Our daughter was a student at the Lincoln Nursery School for 3 years. We really developed a habit of coming regularly as a family to visit the park during those years.
My favorite sculpture is Lincoln. For me, it's very special because that was our children's favorite activity and their favorite work.
When you drive into the park, it just announces that you're not in a regular place. And it's not like anything else around here.
I agree. When you see
It's
Lincoln,
exciting.
you've reached deCordova. Sophia and I both grew up in cities. We're city kids.
For us growing up, art was an inside activity.
This interface between nature and art, I think particularly resonated for us.
Wherever you look, you're seeing art and nature together, and it's a fresh way of looking at both things. In the same way that you look at the art in a fresh way, you look at the woods in a new way too. And these woods feel a little bit more magical and exciting than other woods for that reason. It's just never gets old, it's never stops being exciting.
So one of the really fortuitous things for me has been this integration of deCordova with trustees. I've been walking around on trustees' properties literally since I was 2 weeks old, and I'm very involved in the organization. I love the organization deeply. We've had this relationship with deCordova that extends back about 10 years now. And so to bring these institutions together has just made the experience all the more special.
Hello, this is Mark Dion. I have the distinction of being the honoree of the deCordova's Gala today. This is a particular honor because it represents a recognition by my peers. You know, the deCordova Sculpture Park and Museum is the kind of place that I feel a deep affinity to. You know, since the 1950s, you know, the deCordova has been exhibiting fine art in gorgeous landscapes and preserving wild habitats and promoting wildlife. It's in my home state of Massachusetts, where I grew up. And Massachusetts very much was the crucible of my artistic sensibility. I grew up in New Bedford and Fairhaven, and that very much shaped my understanding of art and the natural world, and my interest in conservation, wildlife protection, and the culture of nature. Art, science, education, and conservation of wild places are these allied pursuits very much supported by the deCordova. And, I think that these are allies. And the fact that we share the same enemies, ignorance, intolerance, fundamentalism, predatory capitalism, the culture of hate, the fact that we share those enemies shows that we are natural allies, that we're bonded.
My practice as a visual artist is really an interrogation of the culture of nature. I'm trying to understand how we as a society have evolved an almost suicidal relationship to the natural world. And I'm very motivated by an affinity with that natural world. I think nature, wild places, and wild things matter. So I attempt in a critical approach to understanding the visual culture of nature, which shapes our attitudes and actions and actually affects real environments. I want to be part of a group of people who are building a progressive culture of nature, which is a task that requires contributions from a wide range of cultural producers. And my skills are as a sculptor and an installation artist, and an artist who works in public space, who brings a sort of knowledge of the history of art and the history of science to that critical discussion of the culture of nature, to try to imagine how we got here, but also maybe to imagine where we can go from here in a way that is far less destructive. My work that's on exhibit right now at the deCordova is called the Conservatory of Confectionery Curiosities, and it is a collaboration with my absolute favorite collaborator, my wife Dana Sherwood, and it's a work that was originally exhibited in the Tuileries at the Garden at the Louvre in Paris. It represents a sort of Victorian-style greenhouse which contains a number of highly decorative confectionery desserts. They look delicious and they're colorful and they're in elaborate glass cake plates and dishes. However, when you get up close to them, you notice that the deliciousness of them, the sugariness of them, the attractiveness of them has also brought a number of insects to be overcome and in fact meet their demise in the savory sweetness of these desserts. I grew up in coastal Massachusetts, and many of my interests and concerns around the marine environment, seafaring, and ocean health come from my early life living in this harbor town. I think New England can be very much like a microcosm. Within my area, there were gritty industrial ports, as well as forests, farms, beaches, suburbs, all sort of side by side. I was passionate about my relationship with nature, but there's really nothing about wild habitats that I visited that spoke to this kind of vast wilderness sensibility that maybe you have out west. My vision of the natural world has never been one of purity, but rather one where the plants and animals making a living in our shadows were sort of doing their best, and also greatly affected by seeing the farms and forests of my youth succumb to bulldozers and to be developed over the period of my childhood. That very much cemented my commitment to a concern of protecting wild places and wild things.
Hi, my name is Sonia Clark, and I'm honored to be this year's recipient of the Rappaport Prize. I'm an artist who crafts objects and installations. I perform actions, and I often engage others in collaborations. I utilize the language of textiles, the politics of hair, and the powerful resonance held in words and the material substance of things. I do these things to celebrate culture, interrogate historical imbalances, and highlight injustice. Now, any prize or recognition that comes my way, I have to share with you that I feel that it belongs to my ancestors, my mother and my father, their mothers and fathers, all of those who have come before me, ancestors both familial and cultural, those who managed epigenetically to write in my DNA their resilience, their fortitude, their joy, their grace, their ingenuity, their creativity, the fullness of their humanity. And so this is my charge. This is my responsibility, to carry that forth and to make space for others to do the same. So it's with great pride that I have the opportunity to present two bodies of work at the deCordova Museum. One, the monumental cloth, the flag we should know, and the second, made specifically with its debut at the deCordova, Heavenly Bound. So thank you, deCordova, for giving me the space to present this work. Thank you to the Rappaport family and the Rappaport Prize for giving me the means to make new bodies of work and explore new ideas. And thank you to my ancestors for giving me the responsibility of your legacy so that I might do the work that must be done.
Sorry that I'm not here with you today. I am in Scotland. So today marks the beginning of its life, and An important part of that work is not just the relationship to the rain, which will bring it to life. It's also the relationship to the people who sit there and experience that. The big difference between the ephemeral work that I make and the projects are that the ephemeral work, usually when it's completed, that's the end of the work. And with the projects, when they're completed, that's when they begin. And what kind of life they have is to a large extent unpredictable, and there's no work more prone to unpredictability of the weather than Watershed. So you today are very much part of Watershed, and that will give it a good life, I hope. It will root itself in the place and make hopefully these connections to the weather, but also to the people and supporters of the deCordova.
Hi, my name is Pedro Alonso. I'm the guest curator of Art in the Landscape. Last summer, I had the pleasure of working with Doug Aiken and the trustees to bring New Horizon to Massachusetts. New Horizon is an event unlike any other I'd ever worked on. It consisted of a hot air balloon that flew across the state and events with musical concerts and conversations about our collective futures. It was quite simply spectacular. Last year, on the hottest day of the year, we gathered at deCordova for a magical evening where everything came together beautifully. Doug made a short video for you to enjoy that highlights New Horizon and what took place across the state last year. Thank you.
New Horizon is a nomadic project. I thought about this idea of a balloon, creating a flying sculpture. I was trying to find a way where the project could be in motion. In the project, we're traveling for 3 weeks. It's situated in different locations where there's happenings. This kind of idea that we're kind of moving from one impression to another, one experience and voice to another. There's a kind of architecture of ideas. It's an artwork that's more about creating a system than an object. As dusk turns to night, New Horizon turns into a kinetic light sculpture. The lights move and create a choreography, almost a kind of piece of minimalist music out of light. Diverse voices, from ecology to contemporary art to architecture, but leaning towards the future and really kind of looking at those questions of who are we now, who will we be in the future?
Good evening. I'm Jocelyn Forbush, Executive Vice President at the Trustees. I want to welcome you to the Party for the Park as we celebrate deCordova's 70th anniversary. Tonight's milestone anniversary comes during an unprecedented time, but is no less worthy of our most enthusiastic celebration. We all need more art in our lives, and I'm thrilled to share with you some news from the Trustees as we begin our evening of messages, music, and food. I hope that you're surrounded by friends and are ready to nod your hats to the successes of deCordova while also dreaming of what's to come. Thank you for your support. You are not only sharing art, but you are expanding imaginations and stimulating creativity. Even through the pandemic, we've been working hard to connect people to art and the natural world through engaging experiences. And they've really responded. Like never before, we need outdoor spaces such as deCordova for children to explore, artists to gain inspiration, and members and visitors to take a deep breath while admiring the beauty all around them. We're so grateful that so many visitors have found solace, art-filled afternoons, and a little bit of sunshine. And I'm pleased to report that we've welcomed more than 50,000 people to the museum this year. Through the integration of deCordova into the trustees just over a year ago, we've been honored to bring world-class contemporary art to more audiences and to provide new ways for visitors to experience art and nature. And now it's time to open our galleries again. We're pleased to do so safely, and we can't wait to see you as we reopen our doors next week. We're thrilled to be opening Visionary New England. This exhibition features original commissions and major loans that highlight the unique history of mystical and spiritual life in New England. At the Trustees, we are pleased to report that within the maelstrom of this current financial crisis, we as an organization remain fiscally strong even while weathering some significant challenges. We also are pleased that as we reach the midpoint of our strategic plan, Momentum, we remain on a successful path to achieving our ambitious goals. We continue to protect special places, to expand our coastal work, and to elevate our cultural and agricultural properties. We're also advancing a strategy to get the next generation outside, and all of these efforts will build a stronger trustees of the future. We count deCordova among our most special places. The museum is uniquely positioned to connect people of all ages with art, with nature, and each other. We're pleased to be on a path for a bright future for deCordova, and we thank each of you for being part of that journey. Without you, we couldn't achieve any of this work. Thank you for your invaluable support for the continued success of deCordova. It takes many hands to care for this beautiful property and the exhibitions, and we're very fortunate to have your support, your friendship, your advice, and your enthusiasm. Because of you, more people will have art in their lives. We all need more art, more nature, and more togetherness. Thank you, and cheers.
We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun, and the bonnet boat was one as we sailed into the mystic. Hark out, hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And when that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. When that foghorn whistle blows, I want to hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I want to rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And magnificently will flow into the mystic. Foghorn blows, I will be coming home. And when that foghorn whistle blows, I wanna hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will go into the mystic.
My name is Nancy Winship Milliken, and I created Pasture Song. I'm talking to you from the fields of Vermont that surround my studio, where I draw inspiration, color, sound, movement, and concept. When asked in 2018 to create work for deCordova Sculpture Park and Museum, I drew upon Boston's cultural history, such as the music of Boston Symphony and the Berklee College of Music, as well as the agricultural history of Boston Commons and Lincoln and Concord. Thousands of cello bow hair bundles, which is horsehair, was collected from luthiers, from bows that played in symphonies and orchestras. These bundles were then tied to netting, which then was designed to expand and contract in the wind. And the structure that you see around Pasture Song references the barn structures and architecture of New England. The material reflects the history of field to horse to orchestra to sculpture in ways of gathering light and layering and movement. When I think of Pasture Song during the pandemic, I think of silencing the bows that happened during the music closures during the pandemic. My heart goes out to the musicians and the institutions that support them. But perhaps today, the music being played next to Pasture Song is symbolic of how music and culture is more important than ever today. I want to thank deCordova Sculpture Park and Museum and the trustees for creating this perfect union of nature and culture, creating a sanctuary for us all. Thank you.
Well, I think fundamentally what deCordova gives to us is made art a part of our family. I think a lot of folks treat art in art museums as places you can't talk, you can't move, and deCordova allows you to do both in a place where you can still learn and feel moved by art, but also feel moved by the nature that surrounds you and also move yourself.
My name is Maggie, and this is Luke.
My name is Anya.
My name's Andrew, and we're the Delorier family.
We've been visiting deCordova for about a decade now. As a family, we find that there's really something for everybody here, whether you want to look at the art or just run around and stretch your legs or take in the scenery.
I like the big pole head, the leaves, and I like all of the things. And I also like the goose that's holding the golf ball.
So my favorite work is the Pasture Song sculpture, the one made of the violin strings. My daughter Anya had the opportunity to interact with the artist during this installation, and since that time it's always been my favorite one.
I got to meet the artist that was doing it during the Hive, and I thought it was really cool because you don't really get to meet the artist as much. I've been participating in the Hive for 4 years. I like that I get to create there, and there's always fun programs. We get to go and look around at the sculptures, and we learn lots of stuff about them that you wouldn't really tell by looking at them.
During Anya's second summer here at the Hive, one morning, at one point I just asked her, I said, what is it that you like so much about art? Because she really just engages with it in a way that I don't think I ever did as a child. And she said that she likes that when you look at something one day, you might think and feel one thing about it, and then you come back the next day and might think and feel something completely different. And I just thought that as an 8-year-old at the time, that she was already sort of getting that perspective and that insight into art in the world. That alone made this experience so incredible for her. And that's why we've kept coming back year after year.
She has a depth of understanding of art that there's no way the average 10-year-old gets. My family has really integrated this place into our everyday way we engage with art, so we really appreciate every moment we're here.
With contemporary art, of course, you're not always going to love everything, but I always find something that inspires me or surprises me or intrigues me, so I leave deCordova and carry something with me for the rest of my day, sometimes years. My name is Linda Hammett Ori. We first started coming to deCordova when we first moved to Lincoln, so that was a little more than 20 years ago. And we live right down the street, so we used to walk through the back way, through the woods with the kids, little at the time, and let them just run around and have this really incredible experience, this exuberance of this intersection of art and sculpture and landscape. I've gone on tours with the curators. I've taken several different classes. Some of the really fun things are larger group activities. So there was art in ales that we've done in past years. I was here last year for the Doug Aitken balloon launch. That was incredible. Sometimes I come here for a really quiet solace type of experience, and other times I come and it's more the group, like seeing all your friends or meeting really interesting people. Soon after I got my start coming to deCordova, one of my friends kind of wrangled me in and said, you really should join the Board of Overseers. And so I did that and served on a committee for a while, and then the next transition was to join the Board of Trustees. I was also serving on some of the committees for that and raised my hand to start the landscape committee. It was right around that same time that I was asked to become the board president. So I served in that role for 3 years, which was quite a wild ride. That was the beginning of the time when we started thinking about joining with the trustees of reservations. 1 year ago, that integration happened. I passed the baton and I continued on to becoming a board of directors for the grand organization of the trustees. One of the things I want to say about deCordova is how fantastic the curatorial and education teams are. They do such an incredible job of revealing the deeper meaning behind a piece of art.
My name is Jerry Frank. I have been involved with deCordova for most of my life. It really started growing up in the Boston area. Our family would come out here on weekends to really enjoy a different type of museum experience. Then as an adult, came back, and it's probably been 25 years since I've been involved with deCordova. And it's began as an overseer, someone that has an architectural background that could help and advise in those areas, and became a member of the Board of Trustees, which I led for 3 years, and finally as a board chair of the museum. What makes deCordova special for me, there are really several things. One is it's such a unique museum in terms of having near 30 acres of land. It is also populated with people who are just wonderful people to be part of. It's been a pleasure to work over the years with so many people on the board and staff here who just make all the difference in the world. And you can really have a voice in what's going on here, as well as be an active participant and visitor. I have been involved in many events over the years, including the Party for the Park. One very memorable event where there were Halloween parties here, and as an adult you would love any excuse to be able to dress up and have some fun in that, as well as Valentine's Day. There were just a number of types of events that were really great, again, as being part of a large community. A favorite sculpture of mine are the Jim Dine hearts. Always have a very special place for me. I was going to say in my heart, but that's a little repetitive. There's just something, especially in this day and age, that resonates about being reminded about love and civility.
I have been at deCordova for 15 years. My name is Emily Soleil, and I'm the head of Learning Environments. Well, I'll say the thing that I love most about deCordova is its longstanding commitment to education. So when deCordova opened in 1950, not only were visitors able to see exhibitions in the museum galleries, but they were also able to experience art making opportunities and classes and workshops. And since then, deCordova's commitment to education has only deepened and gotten more progressive and more interesting. deCordova's Learning and Engagement Department is rooted in a strong education philosophy. And while it can't be summed up neatly in one quick sentence, I can say that some of the things that are very important to us as educators are the sense of play. Now, play has been researched and developed a lot around the idea of early childhood education and how play is the way that children learn, but we're also interested here in encouraging adults to play as well and to kind of let go of some of the inhibitions that might constrain them outside of deCordova. We also focus strongly on the idea of process over product. So, for example, if you come to a drop-in program for children on a weekend program, what you'll see is people walking away with totally different projects and materials. You won't see the cookie-cutter projects that might come out of other programs. And that also spills over into our summer art-making camp, The Hive, which is a very progressive program that's rooted in the idea of creativity, engineering, and connecting kids to art and nature, all of which are strong pillars of the educational philosophy here at deCordova. Another way in which deCordova shows its strong commitment to education is through the partnership with Lincoln Nursery School. Lincoln Nursery School is a progressive, Reggio Emilia-inspired preschool that's embedded on deCordova's campus. We were the first art museum in the country to partner with a preschool like this, and we are now celebrating our 10th anniversary with Lincoln Nursery School on site. All of us here at deCordova want to say a big thank you for everyone who's participating in this evening's Party for the Park. The contributions you will make through tonight's gala will help continue supporting the progressive education and initiatives here at deCordova for years to come.
Hi, I'm Sarah Montross, Senior Curator, and I've been here at deCordova for 5 years. I'm so grateful that you're here, care about deCordova, and here to support us. It has been a year of deep loss and reflection, and for that reason, it's even more important than ever that you're here to support our community. You make deCordova a special place, and I can attest that deCordova's staff and trustees are doing everything they can to make our grounds and our galleries a safe and welcoming place to have restorative, creative, and uplifting experiences. Many museums, including deCordova, are now trying to shape what the future will look like while also examining our past and how it still guides us. For that reason, it is enormously exciting that in just a few days we are reopening our galleries with a major exhibition, Visionary New England. This will be our most ambitious and largest exhibition in recent years. This show celebrates a rich legacy of utopian activities in our region, inspired by those who sought to challenge and change the world amid adversity. Featuring over 100 works of art from the 19th century to today, this exhibition will be a welcoming place for people who want to have a sanctuary and a special, intimate experience with great art and powerful ideas that ground New England. We do have a lot to look forward to in the year ahead, despite the uncertainty that binds us. I hope you will be inspired by what deCordova offers. I hope you will return again and again. Thank you so much for your support of this special place.
Thank you to all of the deCordova friends who are enjoying this hybrid version of Party for the Park this year. For those of you who have not yet met me, my name is Erica Mason and I am a member of the deCordova Advisory Board at the Trustees. I've been involved with deCordova for many, many years, and I was delighted when deCordova became the 118th Trustees property. deCordova is truly a special place, and we have been so happy to share it with a new audience, especially in this challenging year of COVID-19 restrictions. This past summer, while other area museums remained closed, we were able to safely open the deCordova Sculpture Park to welcome visitors to explore the beautiful grounds and the compelling artwork. deCordova is sited on nearly 30 acres of land, and it was delightful to have families and visitors explore works, including wonderful new installations to the park, such as Nathan Mabry's work Heavy Handed and Lesh La by Oded Halami, which happily greets visitors upon their arrival. In short, there was a lot to explore as visitors savored being outdoors. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Trustees, I want to tell you that the Trustees is not just any environmental nonprofit. Rather, the Trustees is a complex matrix of expertise in environmental science, land conservation and preservation, regional history, ecology, coastal management, arts and culture, agriculture, education, public access and service, and advocacy. In addition to serving as an advisory board member at deCordova, I'm also a member of the Trustees' Art in the Landscape Committee, which has presented to date 4 extraordinary art installations sited at Trustees' properties throughout Massachusetts. It demonstrates the organization's strong commitment to contemporary art. In fact, Sam Durant created the Meeting House at the Old Manse in Concord in 2016, and subsequently was awarded the Rappaport Prize the following year. He also created work based on that experience, which will be exhibited in the upcoming deCordova installation, Visionary New England, which opens on October 8th. Jeppe Hein's work, A New End, enchanted visitors at World's End in Hingham, and Alicia Quade installed Tunnel Teller at Castle Hill in Ipswich prior to her successful debut on the Metropolitan Museum of Art's rooftop. Many of you joined us last summer when Doug Aitken's audacious installation, New Horizon, featuring a 100-foot hot air balloon and its extraordinary light show, was presented at deCordova. In short, this amazing organization is deeply committed to contemporary art and to its stewardship of deCordova. Enter the year 2020, a global pandemic, and all of the upheaval that is going on in our economy and the world. This year, of all years, I think we can agree how important it is for our young people to appreciate the outdoors and the important issues raised by contemporary art, including those of diversity and inclusion. We are proud to present work by Sonia Clark, whose exhibitions Monumental Cloth, The Flag We Should Know, and Heavenly Bound will be presented at deCordova in the spring of 2021, followed by the work of MacArthur Fellow Jeffrey Gibson. We are proud to present these important voices. Therefore, I am thrilled that you have all joined us this evening to support and endorse the work of this special place, which allows us to focus on arts and culture during this unsettled time. As you all know, this evening is our annual fundraiser, but this year we want it to be more about all of you. Karen Keene, CEO of Skinner Auctioneers, kindly described the wonderful silent auction opportunities available, and they are all so much fun. From a restful stay in a modernist guest house to an exciting tour of the New York City art world, a private party with your friends at deCordova, to a work of art created by our honorary chair artist Mark Dion and his wife Dana Sherwood, there are great items to bid on. So while I urge you to participate tonight in the silent auction or even make an additional donation to support our efforts at deCordova, I am even more eager for you all to have a great time and celebrate your love of this organization. In closing, I want to take one last moment to thank all of you again. Without you, there would be no mission for deCordova and the Trustees to work on so passionately. Thank you for being the people we always have in mind as we steward our cultural resources.
You know I'm yours just for the taking. I gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul. On the concrete, maybe sometimes we've got it wrong, but it's alright. The more things seem to change, the more they stay the same. Oh, don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Girl, go ahead, let your head down. Sapphire and faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your head down. You're yourself somewhere, somehow blue as the sky, sunburned and lonely, sipping tea by the bar, by the roadside. Just relax, just relax. Don't let those other boys fool you. Gotta love that Afro hairdo. Baby, sometimes we've got it wrong, but it's alright. The more things stay the same, the more things seem to change. Oh, don't you hesitate, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Just go ahead, let your hair down. Sapphire faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your hair down. You're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow. What's more than I can take? Pity for pity's sake. Some nights kept me away. I thought that I was stronger. When you're gonna realize that you don't even have to try any longer. Do what you want to, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Just go ahead, let your hair down. Sapphire faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your hair down. Oh, girl, put your records on. Tell me your favorite song. Just go ahead, let your hair down. Sapphire faded jeans, I hope you get your dreams. Just go ahead, let your hair down. Oh, you're gonna find yourself somewhere, somehow.
We'd like to thank everyone for coming together tonight to celebrate and support deCordova.
Here's to 70 great years. Cheers!
Cheers!